guys, Preacher 357 here, coming to you with a new offering from Springfield, the Garrison 1911. And I made a statement about something that was old, but that is new, and that can be said about the Garrison here. The 1911 is a very old platform, and yet the Garrison is one of their newest offerings. They've revamped their 1911 lineup, and this is one of their lower end models. It's above the GI model, but below some of their other models, which I can't even think of the names of them right off the top of my head. But it's a model that has a lot of features that you're looking for in a 1911, in a modern 1911, I guess I should say. You know, if you're wanting a GI model, you go for that basic kind, and there's an appeal in that, right? There's a certain nostalgia, I guess, in that. There's something cool about the antiquity of it, right? But they're just not as much fun to shoot. They tear my hand up. They eat me alive. This extended beaver tail, this grip safety here, that's a lifesaver for me, because I bleed when I shoot regular 1911s. I can shoot a few rounds, a few mags through them. It's not too bad, but if I come out here and have an extended range session, I'm going to be bleeding by the time I'm done. It eats me up. And one guy said that's because I have fat hands. I said, no, it's not because I have fat hands. I just have meaty hands. I identify as meaty. So make sure you use the right terminology. But this is the Garrison. And I brought out my Remington R1 as well to compare it to, because it's basically more of a GI model, and we'll do sort of a comparison between what the modern 1911s are like versus the more original style, the GI style, because this is the first real video I've done with the 1911, other than the cleaning video I did very early on in the channel, which is of not the best quality, we'll put it that way. But anyway, I've got the Remington out here as well, and we'll do some comparison with that. Of course, when you're talking about Springfield Armory, you've got to still, I guess, bring up some of the shenanigans that happened up in Illinois, I believe it was. I think it was Illinois, with one of the lobbying groups there that Springfield founded and controls, where they were trying to make a deal with the devil, I guess you could say. They were trying to work with anti-gun legislators to get them to give them an exemption from some of these laws if they either helped support it or didn't oppose it or whatever it was. And, that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, including me. And for a while, I didn't even have any interest in getting anything from Springfield. And even before that, I'd shot some XDs before. I had some friends and some family members that had XDs and XDMs and what have you, but they just didn't appeal to me that much to begin with. I like the Smith & Wessons more. There were other guns I was more interested in, so I just never bought them before that, and then when all that happened, I just wasn't interested in buying anything from them. But I'm a Christian, and Christianity is about second chances. It's about forgiveness of sins, right? And I'm going to say that I'm going to give Springfield another chance. I'm going to consider them born again at this point, and hope they don't mess up again. So I'm going to give them a chance with this gun, and that's why I got it, not just to do a review, but because I was actually interested in seeing how their 1911s perform, because I've always heard good things about the Springfield 1911s, and I wanted to see for myself. So now I have one, and we'll see what we think about it. But before we go any further, I want you to check the link in the description. There is a discounted membership there for the GOA, the Gun Owners of America, where you can donate, join up, become a member, and get in the fight to help protect our rights and to maybe even secure more of our rights. Because sometimes I think we think of ourselves as being free here, but we are being infringed upon even in the most freest of states here in the U.S. We can't think because we have less infringement than everyone else in the world, basically, and that here in Tennessee or in some of these what they call red states, if that's what you want to call them, that we have less infringement than California or New York or whatever, that means that we're completely free, and we're not. There are still infringements. And people in these other places may be looking at us going, stop your crying, but an infringement is an infringement. It's not right because someone else is getting it more, that it's okay for us because we're getting it less. It just doesn't factor in that way. That's not the way morality works. That's not the way right and wrong works. And so we want to stop that. So that's a long way to get around to clicking that link and join the Gun Owners of America and help get in the fight and secure our rights. And if you're a resident of Tennessee like I am, then join the Tennessee Firearms Association as well, because they are doing some good work here in the state of Tennessee. And as free as we are here, we've got a long way to go. There are states out there now that have more rights than we do, and that's sad because, you know, we are pretty country here, and we believe very strongly in our firearms here, and yet we can't seem to get some of these things passed that some of these other states have gotten done. So that's what we're fighting to do now. The TFA, I'm wearing a TFA shirt here. I don't know if you can see it's kind of a faded design here, but anyway, join the TFA if you hadn't. Join the Gun Owners of America if you hadn't. There's that discount link in the description. So let's get into the video now. I'm going to show you here the two different guns I have. Both of these are considered 1911s. Now, 1911s technically would really be considered a Colt, or, you know, one of the government models that were made during World War II when they contracted out to other places like Remington Rand or whatever to make them. But we generally just call this platform a 1911. And we often use a lot of the designations that you hear from Colt to describe them. And you can see here the difference here. This has the GI style hammer. This has what's often called a commander style hammer. This skeletonized hammer, this rounded hammer. This has the old style beaver tail here, or the grip safety, that absolutely does not protect my hand, my meaty hand. Meaty, not fat, meaty. Use the right word. But it eats me up, just absolutely tears me up. The extended grip safeties here prevent that, and that's why these are so popular now. You don't get that anymore. You're protected from that hammer, which is very good, because I'm a wimp and I don't like to bleed. This has a more basic style of sight. Now, these are actually decent sights. They're 3-dot sights. Now, this is unloaded. I've checked it, so I'm not pointing a loaded gun at myself. It's got 3 dots on these, but the standard GIs don't. They're very minimal sights. Whereas this has more of a Novak style sight on it, a much more modern style of sight. This has a standard style of safety here, very small, whereas this one has the extended safety. It's a little bit longer, easier to get a hold of. So those are some things that are there to enhance the more modern guns that this one has, that this GI style here doesn't. Now, this one still has the same type of GI serrations on it. So, you know, it's very throwback in that way. Now, these are slanted, whereas these are straight up and down, but very similar. You know, it's not much of a change when it comes to that. Some of your more higher end ones will have the serrations up front, or different kinds of serrations, or what have you. Both of these do have the internal extractors, which is true for a true 1911. Some of your different types, like your Smith & Wessons, your Sig Sauers, will have an external extractor, which is much more modern in design. But these have the traditional style. This has checkering on the back strap on the mainspring housing here, whereas this one just has the lines on it. But both of them are smooth on the front. A lot of your higher end ones will have the checkering on the front as well. So that's some of the differences you see between these two guns here. One other thing that you can't see here, but I'll post some pictures for you so you can see that now, is that this is a design that does not have a hammer block. This one is a design that has a hammer block. And that's kind of strange with these, because the GI model you would think would not have a hammer block, whereas the more modern one would have the hammer block, but it's the exact opposite with these. This is often referred to as a Series 70 type gun. That's a Colt designation, not a Springfield one. But the Colt Series 70s did not have a hammer block. The Colt Series 80s had the hammer block. This is more like a Colt Series 80. It has the hammer block in it. Little plunger in there that gets pressed down to release the hammer block, so that the firing pin block, I keep saying hammer block, it's a firing pin block. Get it right, it's a firing pin block, not a hammer block. to release the firing pin block so that the firing pin can go forward and hit the primer. This one does not have that. There's nothing blocking the firing pin on this one. So that's some of your differences between these two guns here. Both of these are full-size 5-inch 1911s, the same size the original were. Now I have a Colt concealed carry officer model, which has a shorter grip and a commander size slide, which the commander slide is 4.25 inches instead of 5, and it's got the shorter grip of the officer model. So there's some different kinds, and there's a 3-inch model and a 4-inch model that you can find on the market. They've really made all kinds of changes down to the and made new versions of the 1911, I guess you could say, to fit all kinds of needs and desires. But this is the old style, the full size. Now you can even find like a Hunter model or a Target model now with a 6-inch barrel that's even longer, the long slide versions, right? But this is the original kind right here, with some upgrades here that I do like on this one. So let's get into doing a little bit of shooting here. I've got some mags loaded up. I've got several 1911 mags here loaded up. I've got 3 8-rounders and 3 7-rounders. I have had one malfunction with this gun. I've been shooting it some before the video, some on multiple occasions now. I've had one malfunction with this gun, but it was with one of these black 7-round magazines. These are the ones that came with my Remington, and they have been known to have that malfunction on the last round. What it is, the round pops out before it gets loaded into the chamber, and then you get a malfunction where it doesn't feed properly. That's what happened with the Springfield. It was one of these magazines, so I don't think it was the Springfield's fault. I think it was one of these magazines, because they failed that way before. So I'm not going to count that as a malfunction. Therefore, I'm going to say so far it's been 100% reliable with every type of ammo I put through it, including my hand loads. Now I am using right now Winchester White Box 230 grain full metal jacket. Unfortunately, as I run into in several videos, I don't have enough of the Winchester White Box to film the whole video with that, so I'm going to have to change ammos. So I'm hoping I don't get a change in point of impact like I did in the video previously, where I changed over to that Perfecta, and then my point of impact just went all over the place with that Shield Plus. Started pulling way to the left when I changed ammos. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen here. I really don't think it will. I've got Blazer and Remington on, as well as Winchester. I think they're probably going to shoot all about the same. So let's just get started here, do a little bit of shooting, because I've done a lot of talking already, and I'm sure I'm going to get complaints. So let's just go over here, do a little bit of shooting, see how it does. So far, I think it shoots pretty well. It's got a pretty good trigger on it. I'm not going to say it's the best 1911 trigger I've ever felt, but it's good. But let's shoot a little bit and see if I can hit anything with it. Yeah, that went high. I knew that one went high when I pulled the trigger. I don't think that was high. I think that was... Pull them a little bit high, having to bring them down a little bit. One thing about the Series 70, a lot of reason that the companies use it versus the Series 80, you know, the firing pin block versus no firing pin block, is many 1911 enthusiasts believe that the firing pin block makes the trigger worse. And you can understand why, because that trigger then will have to engage that firing pin block. Remember in that M&P 10mm video that I did, remember how gritty the trigger was? Well, that was that striker block, which is the same type of operation. And so they don't like the firing pin blocks in the 1911s. A lot of 1911 enthusiasts don't like them. So a lot of companies don't put them in there because they want a better trigger. But, you know, that 1911 there is what would be considered a Series 80. It has one of the best triggers that I've ever felt in a 1911. And, you know, each gun is different. Every gun is an individual. And even though it might be a general rule that you get a better trigger with a Series 70, it's not always the case. So let's continue shooting here. Let's see if I can hit these little plates with this thing. Maybe. I engaged the safety. I think I did that while I was talking, though. Look at there. I actually hit that thing. Well, I barely hit him. I grazed him, but that counts as a hit in my book. Let's just keep shooting. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm gonna go out here and see if I can hit this one at 80 yards. You know, Hickok 45 always shooting these 45 ACPs out at distance, and you can see the things curved down. You have to kind of lob them in almost. 45 ACPs, great big bullet, not a lot of velocity, catches a lot of air, so that velocity dies quickly. So you gotta hold over just a little bit. See if I can find the right. There we go, second shot. Probably shouldn't try to hit it. There it goes, hit it again. All right, let's just finish up over here. Hit it twice over there. I don't know how many rounds I got left in this magazine, probably not many. That was it. She is performing nicely. Down to my 7-round magazine now. It's a good trigger. I mean, it is. Like I said, it's not quite as good as that Remington, because that Remington is just unbelievably good. But that Remington has thousands and thousands of rounds through it now. I've had that thing for 7-8 years, and I've put a ton of rounds through that thing, despite how much it hurts to do it. And this is brand new. And you can tell the difference between the two. I mean, it's that one's like butter on the slide, and this one's, you know, it's still really tight. So, you know, after I put some more rounds through this one, because I probably only have 300-400 through it so far, you know, the trigger may get even better on this one, and it might be better than that one before it's all said and done. I don't know, but you know, we'll see. You know, maybe once I get up to 5,000 rounds or so, like I probably got through that one, you know, it may be the best shooting gun I've ever had. So let's put a few more down range here. Got cocky. Got in a hurry. Got to slow down on the smaller plates. Slow down on the smaller plates. See if I can hit these little ones again. I pulled that one high. That one's turned on me now, hasn't it? I don't know if I'll ever hit that. There we go. This is a good shooting gun. A really good shooting gun. You know, it could have some of the checkering on the front strap, make it a little better. You know, there's some things that you could put on here that might make it a little bit better, but it doesn't really bother me. You know, that checkering on the front strap, I don't know that I necessarily need it. And I don't care about the serrations on the front or press checks or any of that. This isn't going to be a carry gun anyway. This is strictly an out here on the range, having fun kind of gun, so. Let's just shoot a little bit more here. Up. Where am I going? I spoke too soon. Got a few more rounds here of this Winchester. So I can't blame that on switching ammo, because I didn't. I'm not sure where I was pulling those. Starting to feel so good and get so cocky with it that probably not watching my trigger pull. As I've stated before in videos, semi-autos I get in a hurry with. I start out wanting to be accurate with them and shoot slow, and then the longer I shoot them, the faster it seems like I want to pull the trigger. You know, I don't really have that as much trouble with that with the revolvers. But a lot of people think that's the fun of a semi-auto. To shoot rounds in a hurry. Just mag dump everything, right? Which if that's what they like, I mean, it's their money. Ammo ain't cheap, but if they want to just sling it all down range and not hit a thing, you know, that's great. I mean, I guess maybe they're Jerry Mitchellek and they hit everything they're shooting at no matter how fast they shoot, but that is not I. I'll switch over to Blazer now. Small primers here, small pistol primers in these. Which gives a lot of people fits. Reloaders absolutely hate these things. I have a way I do it to be able to load them, but you just have to make accommodations for them, or you have to get rid of them, one, trade them for somebody who wants the small ones and get large primers instead. But I don't know if it's just a matter of the availability or if it was just cheaper or what the reason was that Federal went to that in these, but there's a lot of people who don't like it, but don't really bother me. Just have to find a workaround. All right, that's target out here at 35. I'm gonna hit this thing. There it is. Not sure where those are. Well, just drop the bag. Oh! It didn't fall out. I just ejected it and didn't grab it. Lack of coordination is what that's called. All right, why am I not hitting this one? I don't know if I was holding too low, maybe. A lot of those were going low. Maybe I was holding too low for that distance. This is too much fun. This video may go on for a year because I may never want to stop shooting this gun. This thing feels good. That was just me. There we go. Thinking I was better than I was. Trying to shoot without aiming and still hit. There's guys who do that point shooting, where they don't even have to use the sights. They just bring it up and know exactly where to go, but that's not me. I have to use the sights on everything. Ah! That'd been just too good if I'd hit that little plate on the first try, wouldn't it? I have my hopes up. I was just going to end the video right then, but I got 2 more mags, so I'm going to shoot these 2 mags here, and then probably just call it done. Because there's nothing bad that I can find to say about this gun. Absolutely nothing. I like it. I really like it. Because I like 1911s. Who doesn't like 1911s? Now, if I'll ever hit this. Turned about halfway sideways. There it goes. I'm trying to split a playing card there. Out here trying to pretend I'm 22 Plinkster or something. All right. And I hit the last round. I think I'm actually shooting it pretty good now. That Blazer did pretty good, didn't it? And I'm almost impressed with myself. People are going to think I actually know what I'm doing. I fool everyone with that performance there, but guys, I appreciate you coming out. Should have shot this Remington a little bit too. This is a nice shooting gun as long as you don't put so many rounds through it that you tear your hand up. But oh, that trigger, man, that trigger is nice. It's just so good, so crisp. Let's try this one here. It's good. It's got just, you don't really feel it when you're shooting it, but there's just a hair of creep right there. It just a tad bit before it releases. It's a crisp release, but you think you've hit the wall, and sometimes there's just a little bit of a creep to it. But it's a nice crisp trigger. And I think with enough rounds, it'll probably rival this one. But I'm gonna tell you what, this slide right here, it's just like butter. But I don't have near the rounds through it, like I said, so. Well, I'm just repeating myself now, so I'm going to end this video and tell you guys I appreciate you coming out. God bless you. Y'all take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time.